Jesse Hogan. He's the president. Actually, his story is amazing. That guy, he's an ex-gang member who was shot, paralyzed, came to Christ, and his story is his story. And he started pushing a narrative about being Hispanic and not being a Democrat. And he was able to get other people on board. He's been to the White House a couple of times. And I believe he's going to the White House again here soon. And he started grabbing individuals who have the same mindset, and obviously Hispanic, but the same mindsets when it comes to being conservative and knowing that we're not going to be sheep. Just because the color of our skin doesn't mean we have to do what you say.
Hello, my name is Kyle, and this is The Conservative Take. The introduction you just saw there was JD Rivera. He is with LEXIT, Real LEXIT, and I interviewed him a couple days ago, and I want to show that to you. But the problem was when we did the interview, I unfortunately didn't start the recording button until about 30 minutes in. So thank you so much, JD, for your patience on that. But the second time we did it was much better. I'm going to show that to you right now. And if you like what we do on this channel, where we take culture, TV, movies, and filter it right, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. So with no further ado, here's my full interview, my second interview with JD Rivera from Real LEXIT. Enjoy. So, JD, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And I'm going to be transparent here. We had some technical difficulties. We're doing this for a second time, but we're going to run through it and hopefully be just as good the second time. So yeah. I apologize to that. I want the audience to be, I don't want to just hide that from the audience totally, but that's what's going on here. So JD, tell us about yourself. Tell us about the organization you're with and what you're trying to get accomplished here in this election year and beyond.
So my organization, I'm with LEXIT. I'm an influencer ambassador for LEXIT. LEXIT is a team. LEXIT stands for Latinos Exiting the Democratic Party, no different than Blexit. We are an organization that's trying to get the Hispanic Latino voice heard, pushing the conservative narrative that individuals do not have to be Democrat just because of the color of your skin, just because you're Hispanic. For me, it's something that I'm happy with. It's something that I'm trying to push. And LEXIT has brought me on, like I said, as an influencer ambassador to help push that narrative as well.
That's awesome. I think we met on Facebook. I mentioned before that I posted something about the Latino Hispanic vote being consistently higher than it was in 2016. I think you commented on that, and I suggested that we should come on and do something together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was exciting seeing that. Like I said, I found you on Facebook because we had some people that we all follow, and I started looking at some of your stuff. And that was the first thing. I opened up my Facebook, and that was the first thing that popped up, talking about how the Latinos are coming in full force. And I sent to you that's great to hear, especially with my team. That's something we love hearing because the biggest thing that we want Latinos and Hispanics to know is that you're not alone. We want you to be able to come out and share your voice, your story. Explain why the red pill is something you want to take, and it's just great to hear because that's what we're pushing. And to see it from a non-Hispanic Facebook page was even more exciting because it's showing that the things that we're saying, things that we're doing is expounding. It's starting to just break records as we speak.
Yeah, I'm going to talk more about your page. I'm going to brag on you guys a little bit here, but I kind of want to talk about you a little bit. Let my audience know more about JD. Tell us a little about yourself. Did you have a walk away moment? Did you have an epiphany? Were you always as brilliant as you are? Like me, I was dumb. I didn't know. It took 9/11 for me to wake up. So, but for yourself, do you have a story with that?
Story. I didn't know what I was growing up. I looking back now, I could say that majority of my family would be considered Democrat. I grew up in California. I was in the Marine Corps for 10 years. So even while I was in the Marine Corps, never really saw anything to do with politics because we were just, as Marines, you're told to do what you do. You obey your commander in chief. If it's time to go to war, you go to war. You say yes, sir, no, sir, when it's time. And when I got out of the Marine Corps I met my wife, and she's the one who kind of taught me that, based off my views. We were talking about it one day, and she's like, I think you're conservative. So I had to look it up myself because I never really knew. I never really cared to think about it or cared about politics for the most part. But it was as soon as I came out as conservative that I started getting so much heat. And it's one of those things that I've been told all my life that if you have people hating on you for your views, then you're probably doing something right. And that was exciting to me to know that I don't. I go against the grain. I don't follow suit. And I had a father actually who was a legal immigrant for a majority of my childhood that taught me those ways. So there's a lot of stuff that I grew up with in my head that made me understand that the way I see the world and the things I've done, especially in my 10 years in the Marine Corps, helped me understand that my conservative values are my conservative values, and why I chose to follow Trump, why I'm on this red pill, and why I continue to push that narrative as well.
Well, one thing I want to say before I go any further, and it's my job to kind of speak for my audience, ask questions that they want to hear, but also to convey what I feel they're going to feel towards you. And I'm going to speak for myself and for them, saying thank you so much for your service. The Marine Corps, like I said before, is the tip of the spear. Before off camera, that is. Is seriously, you are at the cutting edge of our defense of this nation, and I just want to salute. I can't salute you, I'm not in the military, but I want to, what I'm saying, I want to do things properly, and just say thank you so much for what you do, and all you guys are, it's wonderful, and so
yeah, we appreciate the support. A lot of times we veterans don't know what to say when people say thank you. We just say thank you back because it's just one of those things we don't get it a lot, but when we do, it's kind of, it's a breath of fresh air knowing that we have the support we do. And as the conservative individuals, Republicans, that's completely pro-military. So it's good to be a part of this team, this world that I live in.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely welcome. I want to ask a question here real quickly. Now, this is from my own observation, and I'm thinking maybe people feel the same way too. I've noticed that when I go out, and this is totally, from my own firsthand, perspective, that when I see Hispanics and Latinos out, they're with their mother and the father and the kids. I see that more often than not. I very rarely see just by themselves. I see families together. And let me ask you, number one, is that an accurate depiction? And number two, I would imagine that's instilled in the culture. And then if that's also true, which I think it is, what is the pushback, if any, towards the policies of the Democrat Party, which is trying to destroy that structure?
Well, we know the Democratic Party wants to destroy anything that comes against them. So if you take a family structure away, then they have the tools to make you feel, you become powerless at that point. You take away a family, you take away a father, you start handing out, free money for welfare, Medicare, and things of that nature. You give them some type of stipend to not be a family. It makes it easy for people to maintain that when they see the free money coming in and don't grow up, unfortunately, with a family structure with values and morals. But for the most part, the Hispanic community, my family, we're all about family. I don't know too many Hispanic people that don't have a father or a father figure. I had a father who was a alcoholic, but he was also a workaholic, and it was because of him that I learned my where I got my work ethic from. It was all about making sure things were taken care of, making sure that your family's taken care of, making sure there was food on the table, making sure the bills were paid. So my entire family, even though there's been problems with relationships, there's always a father and a mother or some type of relationship like that goes on in most Hispanic families that I've ever seen. It's rare for me to see, like you said, Hispanic people to go out by themselves and not do things as a family for whatever reason. It's been embodied in our brains and in our hearts, not our little hearts, but in our big hearts, to just understand and love the value of a family. Because, they say it all the time that it takes a village. And that's one of the things that I love is that's true, especially in the Hispanic culture, because as a child, it wasn't just my mom, my dad, my stepfather raising me. It was my aunts, it was my uncles, it was my cousins, it was my brothers and sisters. And even with the amount of trouble they go through today, that family value is still there, that value of man and woman in a household to raise young children is still there. Can't say that it's everywhere, but I do see it a lot in Hispanic families still, and that's something that I'm proud of.
I think it's wonderful. I envy that in your community. I think it's great. I think it's what's keeping your community so tight and allowing you guys to see Trump for who he is. I mean, I think when you break down that structure, it's easy to see Trump for something what he's not. And right. You know what I mean? Because then you have all that thing going on. So actually, Trump is actually polling way higher with black men than he is with black women. And that's a whole nother story altogether. But so let's get into LEXIT. I promise I would brag on you guys. I know you're probably not going to do it because I think you're just too modest, but I did some research here and you gave me some links and I want to let everyone know right now who's listening to this and my channel and whomever, go check out LEXIT and the real LEXIT that I'm going to put in the description below, the Facebook page and the Instagram. And I'm going to talk about Instagram and how brilliant that is in a little bit. But check this out, guys. Their Facebook page has 38,000 likes, 47,000 followers. The Instagram has 48,000 followers. And I was going to go right into the Instagram, just kind of brag on that now, get it out of the way, because I think it's so powerful. Well, no, I won't. I'm going to leave that for later. I'm going to let you talk into it, and I'll comment on that because I don't want it to go ahead of myself. But so can you talk about a little bit of, number one, how did it get started? And how to get so popular so quickly. I mean, you have people in here who are following you, like Turning Point USA. You have David Harris. You have Kingface. You have Dylan Wheeler of Educating Liberals. You have Gorka. You have everyone following this and putting in. That is phenomenal.
We have our founders, Jesse Hogan. He's the president. Actually, his story is amazing. That guy, he's an ex-gang member who was shot, paralyzed, came to Christ, and his story is his story. But he's been able to explain how the way of the street, which is generally, how the Democrats like it, want to keep you on the street, is not the way to go. And he started pushing a narrative about being Hispanic and not being a Democrat. And he was able to get other people on board. He's been to the White House a couple of times, and I believe he's going to the White House again here soon. And he started grabbing individuals who have the same mindset, and obviously Hispanic, but the same mindset when it comes to being conservative and knowing that we're not going to be sheep. Just because the color of our skin doesn't mean we have to do what you say, do what you do. And it was just a big group of individuals that had good followings already, and they were able to push this narrative, especially right now, especially during 2016 when Trump came on board, to just get people out there and start voting, especially for Hispanics. Because one of the biggest things that they say in LEXIT is you don't have to vote Democrat because you're Hispanic. And that's true, because for some reason, a lot of people automatically assume that because of the color of our skin, we are supposed to be Democrats and we should hate Trump because of the bad things he said. And that's neither here nor there, really. You got to look at his policies and the way he's grown the economy. You got to look at the things that he's actually done for America. And I think that's where people get messed up, is they forget that it's all about America. Not everything else, not every other country. It's about what you're going to do for America. And they've just reached out to people. They push information that is relevant. They push information that's true and correct. We don't just throw a bunch of misinformation out there like a lot of people do on the far left. And it's all about engaging with our viewers and our followers and getting people on board and having them. We don't want people to do what we do. We want them to have their own minds. We're just giving the ammunition, so when it comes to that point, they have something logical to talk about.
So if I was someone in your community who was afraid to step up and say something about why I'm voting conservative or considering voting conservative, I can come to you for help on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So not just me. If you go to the LEXIT pages, which I'm hoping your viewers do, if you go to the LEXIT page, you'll find a huge group of it. I want to say there's right now 7 or 8 of us collectively in LEXIT that are in the actual LEXIT team. But LEXIT as a broad is everybody who's who wants to be a part of LEXIT, really. And everybody has so many different stories and backgrounds on why they took the red pill. different areas of how they were raised. Like I said, Jesse was an ex-gang member. Nino, which is Nino America, he's an ex-gang member. We have individuals who speak perfect Spanish, not so great English, but they understand that has nothing to do with who they're electing or who they're voting for. Someone like myself, who's a veteran, Hispanic veteran, who can tell that part of the world, that story. So we have people that are relatable to almost everybody out there. So if you find someone on LEXIT that relates to you, you can reach out to them, and I promise you they're going to reach back out. That's one of the big things that we do. We don't want anybody to be afraid of coming out for who they are, but if it's something that really does bother them, we are a soundboard for them. We're a platform that they can talk their truths, and we can be their soundboards, because literally coming out as a Hispanic conservative, that's far worse than coming out as a gay man. It's as crazy as it sounds. Just saying.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds crazy, but it's the amount of hate we get for saying that we're conservative, or I support Trump, or I support the Second Amendment, or I support building the wall, or those different things. We get so much hate, and it's just we're out there to break that stereotype and that stigma. So we hope and hope that we can influence individuals to come out and not worry about that, because with us, with LEXIT, they have like I said, a full soundboard. We're a safe place for you to come tell your story, and that's what we want. We want you to be able to be okay with making the decisions you make as a conservative, as a Republican, as a Hispanic man or woman.
I find it fascinating. I know a lot of my people on this are going to feel like me. Just the fact that you said, and I heard this from another gentleman yesterday, that how difficult it is to come out as a conservative in the Latino community. I never would have thought that. We just had a film called Uncle Tom. You hear the term coon and all this stuff, Uncle Ruckus and all this stuff. And I'm like, I think, I guess I almost feel like relieved almost in a kind of a sad way that I'm not alone. Not just me, but that there's other people that are being treated the same way who have a totally different cultural background.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's really sad how we're being manipulated by this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's, nobody comes out with any type of real logical explanations on why they say we're Uncle Toms or why they say we're traitors. They say traitors to the race. I guess, whatever. A lot of Hispanic people get mad at Hispanics for being a Trump supporter because the comment, literally the one comment he made about the MS-13 immigrants coming out that are rapists and murderers, and you know what, he's not wrong in what he said. The problem is everybody took it out of context to make him a racist, because that's been the game since the beginning. Yeah. Donald Trump is a racist. So if you vote for Donald Trump, you're a racist. Okay, whatever, I guess. Yeah. But the understanding who he was talking about, first off, if he was saying specifically Mexicans, he's not talking about me because I'm not Mexican. Though that is my background, I'm American first. The people he was talking about, he was bringing it based off of what was going on at the specific time when you had illegal immigrants coming into the United States that were thrown back to Mexico, kept coming back because of the laws, and were killing innocent individuals after they've already been arrested for the crimes that they've committed in the United States when they shouldn't have been here in the first place. So if you want to take that as a racist statement, I mean, whatever, I guess that's whatever helps you sleep at night. But you know how the far left does it. So yeah, it's fun being called. I've been called an Uncle Tom, like I said, which doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes no sense.
I get told, "Oh, you want to be white so bad," and those are the ones that kill me. Oh, you want to be white so bad. What does that have to do with me being American? I'm patriotic. Like I said, I'm a Marine Corps vet, 10 years in the Marine Corps. I love my country. I've been to war, so I love everything about the United States of America. I've seen the bad areas. I've been to a third world country where people don't have the freedoms that we do as Americans. So saying that I want to be white so bad, or, oh, okay, white boy, there's nothing about me. I'm American. I have good English. I'm sorry that I'm educated. Is that why they say it? I don't know. Are they offended by me? Absolutely, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. But it's ridiculous that they have to resort to these name callings and things of that nature, because, like I said, they don't have anything intelligent or educated to say whenever you say why you're voting for him, whenever you throw in policies and what he's done for the economy. Literally, people are like, I don't care about what he's done and his policies. He's racist. That makes zero sense to me, for you to not want to vote for an individual who has done nothing but good for the United States of America.
Yeah, in the past taping, I mentioned African American. I corrected myself and said black, and you mentioned something that was really cool to hear is that you don't have a hyphen either. You look yourself as American, and I wish we could get back to just being American.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole narrative of race issues. Someone created races. I mean, God created one race, which is the human race. We all know that. But when we started making colors and started making hyphens, look, if you go to any other country, if you go to Mexico from America or Germany from America, you don't become a German or an American German or a German American. They're still Germans. You become a citizen of that country. For some reason, in America, you have some type of hyphenated thing. First off, it's this simple. I can't be Mexican American because I wasn't born in Mexico. I've been to Mexico, but my mom, my grandparents, my great grandparents, they are all Americans. They were born in America. So to hyphenate me is ridiculous. When people call themselves African Americans, I've never been to Africa. I don't understand that either. The term Black American kills me sometimes too because that's based off the color of your skin. If I can come up with something, I would, but we don't have anything right now. And it's just, we need to change it to just being American. That's what it needs to come down to. There shouldn't be a hyphenate. You shouldn't be a Black American. You should be American. You shouldn't be a Mexican American. You should be American. Even saying Hispanic American. I'm American. It doesn't matter what you think. Your birthplace is who you are. And that's the problem is people think that because I say I'm American and not Mexican, that I'm some type of traitor. But here's the funny thing. Mexicans who call me a traitor, and Mexican Americans, the actual hyphenated individual people who came to America legally, who call me a traitor, are sitting here in America, living the American dream, getting funds from America, going to school for free. They're calling me a traitor, but yet they've done absolutely nothing to fix Mexico, their homeland. So you look at that and you try to think, so who's the real traitor? Am I the traitor? Because I was born American, I'm living my American dream, and I'm doing what America needs to do. But as a Mexican coming into America as a Mexican immigrant, not sending money back to Mexico to help build their economy, not funding their schools, not funding their hospitals. Most of the time, the money that's going back there is to fund all the illegal activity that happens in Mexico. Not saying that's every Mexican that does that. I'm sure there's Mexicans out there like my dad, who was a legal Mexican, a legal immigrant who sent money back to my little sister before she moved here because she was living in Mexico. There are Mexicans that do that. But what are you doing to fix your economy in Mexico that you hated so much that you had to come to America to not deal with that? Who's the real traitor, guys? I'm not the traitor. And that hurts them a lot too, because as soon as I explain that, you see the light bulb and you see people start thinking and they're like, oh no, you're a traitor, and you start calling me names again because it is what it is, man. I mean,
that right there, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard a mic drop in your life, that was one. I mean, that what you said there, I'm gonna have to replay that and study that because that was, I mean, so concise and just you just can't answer it. There is no response to that, right?
Right.
I mean, you almost have to name call at that point. Either you name call or you basically take the red pill and swallow it and start to compress and start realizing that what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah,
so
it's an aha moment for a lot of people. I've literally had individuals hit me up after I posted that one time on my I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok, but I posted it and I had a couple of Hispanic people be like, you know what, man, I've never seen it that way. Tell me more, basically.
Yeah.
So it's for some people, there are people who are going to listen, but you have to talk to them in a specific way to get them to understand that, I don't want people thinking that I'm always right, because what I speak and what I say are my truths. But at the same time, I don't want people to neglect what I'm saying because I don't have the same mindset or opinions as they do. So I just want people to see that there's more out there to it, because to sit there and not be a Trump supporter because you think he's racist, it's one of the craziest things I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, you answered my question for me before I even answered it. My first question was going to be, before you answered it perfectly, was what is the biggest challenge you have when it deals with going or recruiting to a person who is open-minded but still not looking forward to voting a conservative? And then I was going to ask you, what would you tell them, to for that challenge to help them understand or start to come to understand what is actually happening and stop being so emotional about some of the stuff that people are told.
But
so I think you nailed it though.
Yeah, you can't base stuff off emotions, and that's what a lot of people do. They base a lot of things off emotions. And the one thing that I always tell people when we're talking about stuff, I'll feed information and I'll say, look, you don't have to take my word for it. Look it up yourself. Educate yourself. It's no different than reading the Bible. It's no different than being a Christian. You don't have to take everybody's word for what the Bible says, but you can't make it out to what you want it to be to fit your narrative. You need to go read the Bible, because you have preachers and pastors who say stuff all the time, but the good ones will tell you, don't take my word for it. Go read the Bible yourself and figure out what I'm saying. It's no different than politics. Don't take my word for what I'm saying. This is my truth because this is what I found out. I can give you links to it, but it's up to you to do the actual homework and make sure it fits your way of life. There have been people, I have people in California that are my friends who've literally gone on Facebook and just like, I don't know which way to vote. Should I vote for Democrat? Should I vote for Republican? I don't know what to do. And you automatically get people like, oh, don't vote Republican. They're a bunch of racist bigots. Donald Trump's this and that. But that's all you get. You never get why the Democratic Party is the better party to vote for.
Right.
And then I jump on there as a Hispanic American voting for Donald Trump, who doesn't believe he's racist. And I tell them, look at your community. Look at the way it's run. Who's running it right now? Is it ran by a Republican or Democrat? If you don't like the way your life is ran right now, then maybe it's time for you to have a change and look the other way. Because in California, that's big. California has all sorts of Democratic areas. And it was that simple of something for me to say and for them to mess me back and like, you know what, I'm going to take your advice. And then weeks on weeks replying to me, you know what, I've seen the things you're saying. This is correct. It's not the way I want to live. So it's just saying specific things that get them to want to educate themselves without the hateful rhetoric. Like I never went on there and said, oh, don't vote for this person because they're stupid or they're ignorant, whatever. Right. I give them specific facts that I found and gave them something simple to think about when it comes to picking their elected officials. And that's all it is, man. That's kind of the biggest thing is what I would like to teach a lot of individuals is I do bash on Biden for obvious reasons and the Democratic Party. But I do stuff out of satire, because there's things that are funny. There really are. But whenever I'm trying to get someone to understand, I don't want to tell you to vote for Trump. I don't want to tell you to be conservative. I want you to make that decision on your own. But what I'm going to give you is information that I have found. I'm going to give you links to things that I think could help you understand the things that you're saying that are actually incorrect. Biggest things right now. The big fight, as you know, is the black community is saying that they're oppressed by white cops. And you have statistics that show otherwise. And those are the kind of things that you have to bring to the table. But again, if somebody's coming at it from a point of view where it's all just based off emotion, they're not going to listen. You're not going to win those people over. Right. But you got to figure out how you're going to talk to these individuals to get them to want to actually understand and know the truths. And I know people say it all the time, oh, but you won't listen to me because you're stuck in a bubble. I'm not in a bubble. I listen to everybody, but I still draw conclusions from what I believe is my truth. And I draw conclusions based off of how I feel I want my family to grow up in, the country that I want to live in, not the country that you feel I should live in. And that's where we're at right now. We're so left and right now. There's really no middle ground, and it's crazy.
There's no middle ground. It's so far polarized. And like you said, you mentioned your truth. I mean, anecdotal evidence is not true. It's not, definitive. It's just my experience and so forth. And I like the fact, and also when you want to convince somebody, you give yourself credibility by saying, don't take my word for it. Google, I mean, Googling is kind of a joke now that what the Young Turks did in their debate with Ben Shapiro. So I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that reference, but essentially, yeah, go look for yourself and find out for yourself. And that gives people, well, if he's confident enough in telling me to do that, he must have something.
Right. See, and it's in Google, for example, like you said, I wouldn't use Google as a source to find all your information. You have to get Yahoo, Bing, all those different things. But it depends on what you type in and depends on what you want to look for. A lot of Democrats, a lot of liberals who hate Trump use Google because the first thing that's going to pop up is something negative towards Trump. And
go 5 pages down.
So it's when you're looking at something specifically, you don't want to You don't want statistics. Let's go to statistics again. The crime rates in America. If you Google statistic, or if you Google what's the crime rates based on race, you'll have all these opinion articles from MSNBC, CNN. They're all articles based off somebody else's opinion, based off the findings they have. But again, it's findings they have with their opinion in mind. Instead of going to the CDC or the FBI's website, the places where the actual statistics can be drawn from, those are the places you need to go. You need to educate yourself and understand that you can't use the media as your source of information. They give information, but the journalism is no longer journalism these days. So you got to make sure that you go to the actual sources of where this information is coming from. You can find statistics in everything. You have scientific organizations that you can find that information out as well. It's in the palm of our hands, literally. Talking on the device that allows, or I'm talking on the device that allows me to find things out on my own and educate myself in these matters. But again, you have to be educated enough to know what you're looking at. If you're going to a basic.com website that, said a majority of them are opinion-based websites, you're not going to get the information you really need. You're going to get the information you want. And that's what helps fuel some people's fire, is by going to a website that says what they want to hear. Correct. Versus a website that says the true findings and facts of certain things.
I've got an interesting segue to mention Thomas Sowell, the black, I almost said African American, the black educator, genius, who's been around for decades. He's the OG in the black conservative movement, was actually a Marxist in college. He was actually a leftist Marxist. And the reason why he became a conservative was because they could not give him the evidence to prove otherwise. He was looking for a study on environmental fires, because they were talking about, in the environment. And he said, well, what about forest fires? Can you give me evidence on forest fires? They refused to give it to him. EPA, he said he's still waiting 35 years for the evidence on it. So he was like, well, I'm a conservative because that doesn't fit your narrative. So I'm done. I'm out. Because he said in an interview, I saw that, but he's a different kind of person who can just, and like yourself, I mean, some people just get it, right? I had to have 9/11 happen for me to get it. But I think each have our own journey, and the red pill moment has to happen at some point. And it's how we deal with that. Do we run from it, or do we embrace it? And embracing it is tough. It's tough to embrace it because it breaks your whole world. Your whole world crumbles. But it's only after that do you get a chance to actually build up and be free.
Yeah, I hate that the political world has taken over our typical family homes, because it even in my church, and I keep talking about this stuff, but even in my church is a very, very diverse church. Well, at least it was. And because of the BLM movement and everything that's going on with Donald Trump, President Trump, there's been such a separation in my church because it's either you're for BLM or you're a racist. And that's even in my church. And it's unfortunate because when I joined my church because of the diversity and the love. I joined it because of how different it was than other churches. It wasn't a all Spanish church. It wasn't an all white church. It wasn't an all black church. It was a church where we came to worship God, and we did it together as a family unit. But now all of a sudden, politics has literally caused church members of mine that I love to separate themselves from my church because of the things that are being said they don't agree with. And it's unfortunate how bad politics is winning right now when it comes to separating people from the church and people from their families. I mean, literally, you have college kids who are coming out as conservative with their families. You tell them, get out of my house. Yep. You have the same thing for kids who are liberal in a conservative family. The kid comes out and says, Dad, I'm liberal. We don't have that here. Get out of my house. It works both ways. It's not a one-way street.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous that a difference in opinions can cause so much hate and divide between people, because it's those difference in opinions is what causes the world to be such an amazing world. Could you imagine if we all had the same mindset, the same thought process? It would be the most boring place to live in. But it's those differences in opinions and religions and race and culture and heritage that creates such an amazing place to live. But politics has ruined that, because now you're either here on the left side or you're here on the right side, and now we're at war.
We're at war.
And it doesn't make any sense at all to me.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that on a video that's going up tonight. We can talk off camera if you like, but I don't want to just kind of a little off the subject in terms of what we're dealing with, but I think it's really important because what we're seeing right now, JD, is we're seeing sectionalism of a nature that we haven't seen since 1850, 1840, since the antebellum period in the South, where you had, strict differences in terms of what the North thought about the South and South thought about the North. But now there is no border lines. It's just ideological lines. And it's I'm telling you right now, if something isn't done, this could be extremely volatile and dangerous. I'm not predicting a civil war of the nature of the antebellum period. I am talking about a civil war where families are destroyed, churches are destroyed, our fabric of our society is crumbled, and it's going to take years to repair. And I just hope that people who can see BLM for what they are. I said this in the interview yesterday. At the very least, they are an organization that has been hijacked by a group of people who hate America. Yeah. If you can't see that, that's something we should all be able to see and agree on and have a discussion on that point. Everyone likes the term Black Lives Matters. Everyone likes the term Planned Parenthood. Who can be wrong with that? Who can be opposed to Planned Parenthood? No, it's the words that are used and then as a front to do something different.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the BLM movement, the leaders of BLM, they've come out. They've openly stated that they're trained Marxists. Right. So if you don't get that now, again, some of the individuals that I was talking about from church, we've had conversations, and they come on my Facebook and blast me for certain things, and I told them these ain't conversations that are meant for Facebook. We need to talk normal.
Right. Thank you.
Because we're not going to get any further with this. But a couple of times I've talked to a couple of my friends we've split ways because of that. But I've specifically said, look, there's BLM. I'm not for the movement. I've never been for the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm all about Black lives. I have Black family members. I have nephews and nieces that are Black. Don't tell me I'm not for Black lives. I cannot stand what the movement is for, because originally I could say that it started off as a movement that was meant for, talking about the police brutality towards Black individuals. It was openly shown, and it was something that was but like you said, it was hijacked. It was hijacked immediately. And the people that I talk to constantly, my Black friends, I've told them, we need people like you who continuously tell me, that's not what BLM's for. Well, at least when we talk about BLM, we're talking about something specific. And I do agree with you, JD, that the leaders, the people who are in charge of BLM, they're just they're crazy people. Well, if you agree with that, then why do you support that movement? Instead of agreeing with it and supporting that movement, why don't you hijack the movement back and make it what it should really be about? And that's all Black lives, not just a specific amount. Because even right now, I don't even think the Black Lives Matter movement is even about Black lives anymore. To be honest with you, when you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, 90% of the freaking people that are protesting are not even Black. So what is the movement really about anymore? And, we can go all day about the Act Blue and everything else and how the BLM movement is, we can go all day about all that stuff.
Yeah.
So my problem with the Black Lives Matter movement is there aren't any people who want to actually step up and take the reins of the Black Lives Matter movement to say, hey, what you're doing with this movement is completely wrong. Because when they start trying to twist in Martin Luther King and things of that nature, it's a big no-no. You're talking two different things right now, because what you're doing as the Black Lives Matter movement has nothing to do with someone like Martin Luther King, who actually changed America for the better. I just wish that my friends who are not Trump supporters, a lot of them are libertarians, they're not even Democrats. I wish that they would call out the BLM for what it is and tell them, hey, your narrative's incorrect. This isn't what we're for. Because just like a lot of people try to say all cops are bad because of what they do, which we know that's incorrect, that's what BLM's doing as well. Yeah. So there needs to be something in there. Look, when people started saying all cops are bad, we had cops left and right coming out saying what happened to George Floyd was horrible. Like, you had cops coming out of the woodworks, you had chiefs, you had all sorts of people coming out saying what they didn't condone it. So they were on everybody's side. Yeah. But you don't have people who disagree with the BLM movement, doing that towards the BLM founders.
They're too scared.
Go ahead.
They're too scared.
Yeah. But I'll do it. I'll do it all day. But it doesn't matter for me because I'm not Black. Because
Right.
Because of who I am as a Hispanic American, I don't have a voice. Look, when all this started happening, the one thing a lot of people don't know, I'm in an interracial relationship. My wife is white. My kids are white. So they're half white, half Hispanic. And something that was super upsetting to me was my wife is empath. She loves people. She loves making sure that people understand that she's for them and that she hears them. She's all about it. And my wife got thrown this horrible wrench when she was trying to help the black people in my community that we go to church with. They were telling her, you don't have a right to say anything because you're white. You don't know what being oppressed is. And from that point on, that's where I knew, again, why my voice needed to be so much louder. Like I needed to make sure that my voice was heard for her because of who she is as a human being. And it hurt me that people would say that about her, not knowing her background, her life, her struggles, the things she's seen, the police brutality she's seen, the police coming to her when she was a pregnant woman, surrounding our house because she had a warrant for her arrest that she didn't even know. She's been through it all. My wife has seen cops come on me, not pull me out of the car, but open, when I got out of the car, came out of their vehicles with their guns drawn because they got a call saying that I was waving a gun around in my car, which was false. But she saw that how they treated me, how I acted towards the police, did what they said. I didn't fight. They were doing their job, and I understood that better because when I was in the Marine Corps, I had the job as a sergeant of the guard to do what cops did, what cops do now. So I had the same type of training for a while for riot control and things of that nature. So it's just an understanding that you don't do stupid things when the cops tell you to do something. They weren't there to hate on me. They were there because they were on a phone call that said that I had a gun. So they had their guns ready just in case I did. So, it was my wife has seen these things. My wife, as a white woman, has seen, again, police brutality. She's seen cops do stupid things. That doesn't change the narrative of who she is as a human being. Like, she still knows, she still understands oppression in certain areas. She still understands and can sympathize with people. But because of color of skin, she's not allowed to. And they openly stated that on Facebook to her. People in my church have told my wife and my leaders in church, you don't have a right to say anything because you're white. You don't know what they're going through. I don't understand that. I don't understand at all. So I need to make sure for my wife, I want to make sure that her voice is heard. Because again, when you start talking about the racism towards white people, you got to understand, my kids are Hispanic. The only one that looks Hispanic is my daughter because she has my curly hair and everything, and she's got the darker skin tone. But my boys, they look like a typical little white boy. They got a little bit of a tan, but you look at them, the first thing, if people want to look at somebody and base a race off, when you look at them, you don't think they're Hispanic. You don't think my sons are that. So they're going to be, if we continue this the way we're going, they're going to be in a world where because of the color of their skin, they're going to be hated on. And I've got to fight to make sure that doesn't become their future.
I posted something on, thank you for that story. That's really heartbreaking. I see it happening in churches, families being split, and that story, unfortunately, is being going all over the place. But I posted something on Facebook, which basically said that there's basically about 10 genes on the chromosome that indicate what we call race. It's like obviously your skin color, muscle in your nose, a muscle in your eyes here, and a few other things, cheekbones, whatever. Like 10, maybe not even 10. But we're 99% the same. We're just all different shades of brown. And if you look at it from a scientific level, it makes no sense at all. And so, and to have that kind of the heartless attitude to say that to project on someone just because of their skin color that they can't empathize is ridiculous. I think I'll say this real quickly. I'll volunteer this. I think it's because people haven't really been engaged in politics and haven't really been engaged in talking about these ideas culturally, and then we're spending too much time watching Channel Zero or doing whatever, and that's good. We're American; we should be doing what we want to do. But when these things happen, we easily react because we've been manipulated without us knowing about it, and now we're confronted with the decision. Well, Black Lives Matter, absolutely. What do you mean, like Black Lives Matter? What are you talking about? You're racist. You know what I mean? So it's like, and there's no thought given there. It's just reaction.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a world that I really don't want my kids to grow up in, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, man. We've got to push it. We got to make sure.
Yeah.
We've got to change this narrative that because of your skin color that you're superior in some way. Look, the BLM movement. Look, I'm going to throw this out there. Do you know about the FNAC?
Let me write it down. No, I do not.
All right. Look up the FNAC. Everybody's hearing this right now. FNAC, I believe that's what it is. So they are basically a militia for the BLM. And I'm not saying, I'm not going to say what it stands for because it has.
I got you. Yes, I have heard. Yes, I didn't realize the acronym. Yes.
And I just wanted to say something because you said it earlier about the Civil War, that it's very possible. It's very, very possible that in our lifetime that we do see another Civil War, because right now we're looking at it backwards. Now it's the Black Lives Matter movement and these very, very extreme liberal and Democrats who are part of the FNAC that are out there calling out people. They're basically going to predominantly white neighborhoods, white areas where people who consider themselves rednecks, they're going out there and trying to call them out. And I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of those people, a lot of these country boys that people are trying to call out are guys that I served with, and they're not there to play around. And if you're gonna call them out for war, they're gonna come out war. It's just the way it is. But the fact that the Republicans and Democrats aren't doing anything about it, they're just letting this kind of stuff happen, is baffling me.
Crazy.
The fact that our government, who wants to be in control of everything, is letting all this happen, that doesn't baffle me, because they understand that if we fight each other, there's less that they got to do. There's less work for them that they got to do. But they've done an amazing job at separating races and creating the superior race culture again. They literally have taken the KKK and passed the torch to the BLM. The difference is the KKK was lynching. BLM is lynching with guns. There's no difference. They're still killing each other. And the Democratic Party is just sitting back laughing at everybody right now because everything they want to happen is happening, and we're just sitting back watching it all go down.
It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. Yeah, I kept you on this way longer than I would like to, and I appreciate you being able to do the technical difficulty, or actually not technical difficulty, it's me being not very smart and not hitting the record button. But I do want to end this more or less on a positive note. Can you tell me, and this is my last question for you, can you tell me and the audience, what are you most excited about in terms of what you're doing, what you got going on in your life? It could be anything you think of. I guess particularly too with the LEXIT movement, or what's going on with the country.
For me, look, I'm gonna throw it out, to be all honest, this guy, I want to meet him so bad. I want to meet President Trump just to let him know. I want to be able to shake his hand and tell him, I know you know this, President Trump, but you have so many Hispanic people out there that are here to back you up. You're not in this alone. It's exciting to me to know that I've been able to go from being a Marine and bringing people into the Marine Corps out of the lives that they had before, using that same mindset to be able to bring people out of this poverty mindset to understand that there's so much more for them out there. But it's the entire political realm. It scares me just as much as the other person, because I'm educated, but I'm no Ben Shapiro. I'm no Caitlin Bennett. I'm none of those people who that's their life. But I do like that I've been able to positively influence individuals in what's going on in the world. And those are the things that I'm excited about. Like I said, I've had people reach out to me that ask me questions, and I'm just happy that I'm able to maintain that and get people to think for themselves without being stereotyped in any type of way. So I'm just excited to see where the world's going. No matter what happens, you and I are going to be okay. America's still going to be America. If there even is anything going on, we're still going to be all right. It's not the end of the world. And we got to remember that. But we also need to make sure that we get out there. We need to get out there and vote. We need to get out there and make our voices heard. Don't be afraid of telling people who you are and what you represent. Get out there and do it, and enjoy it while we can.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'll tell you what I'm excited about. I'm excited about people like you and people like you who uplift me, because when you, as you know, you're bombarded by the negative on social media, you need to get down on yourself. So these conversations help me feel encouraged, particularly that part where you said about how you're treated improperly because you're conservative. And I felt that's only Black people felt that way. So I think that's something that's really encouraging for me to know that I'm not alone. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing. We got to remember we're not alone in this. We're all going through this together. And as long as we maintain these kind of things, our voices are going to be heard. And people are going to start listening. People are going to start listening. They already are, man. They already are. I
think we are. I think this is clear cut right now. So, okay. So, JD, why don't you tell the audience where they can find you? I'll put the links in the description, and I'll probably put some titling here and down here as well. But how can the community plug into you, support you?
So I'll send you a link in a second. I should have sent it to you before. Actually, right now. So one thing that I want everybody to understand is those of us that are part of LEXIT, we are volunteers. None of us are getting paid for what we do. So for us to be able to get our voices heard and be out there and speak to the president and do things like that, we do need help and support. So I'll send you a link if you don't mind sharing it. That'd be great.
Oh, it'll be in the description below.
Yep. So if you go to any LEXIT page, go to LEXIT or Real LEXIT, you'll see Real LEXIT or LEXIT, and it's ran by Jesse Hogan. Those are the pages you need to go to on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We have those going. If you just follow us there, you'll see the areas where you can go and support us in all our future endeavors. As far as me, if you want to follow me, I go by Chicano for Trump, Chicano #4 Trump. On Facebook is just JD Rivera, but TikTok and Instagram, I do go by Chicano for Trump. Just get out there and support us, guys. And like I said, you support us, we're going to support you just the same way. And I know for a fact that you'll love the content, and I know for a fact it'll be relevant to a lot of you guys that are out there who have been in hiding, who are afraid to come out and say things. And we just look forward to meeting everybody.
Let me say this. I meant to say this before. I said I was going to say about the Instagram. Let me say real quickly that the Instagram is set up in a way that is almost like a one-stop shop of pictures, videos, memes, of current events that you can pretty much just look at it within about 5-10 minutes, kind of get the news, what's going on. It's very current. And like you were saying before, it's coming from different people, so different flavors. And I think it's a really good way to convey something quickly because we had this blender mentality, microwave mentality. So I think that was really impressive and really innovative. Whoever came up with that design of sharing information using Instagram was, I think, quite frankly, brilliant.
Yeah, it's awesome. And if I could, real quick, one more thing. If you guys do come and follow us, we also have Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives that we do weekly. So we talk about current events, things that are going on. So it's good information. Like I said, we get the information out there that you need. And as we're going live, we allow our viewers and followers to comment on the bottom, and we answer those questions as we can because it's going, man. We're growing. So we want to make sure that everybody is heard when we can. So you follow us there, you'll see our Facebook Lives and you'll see our Instagram Lives. And we just ask that you guys join us in the conversations because it's great information. It's more food for thought. And like I said, it's ammunition for you to go out there when people ask you why you are a Trump supporter, why you're a Hispanic Trump supporter, why you're a Black Trump supporter, things of that nature, why you're conservative. We have information that helps you, that helps educate you to have those educated conversations with individuals who don't want to have educated conversations.
It's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Again, thank you so much, man. All that information will be in the links below. I promise they'll all be there, and check them out and support them. And again, thank you, JD, for coming on tonight. Again, sorry for my, thing that I just did there, but I think the second time around was way better, frankly. Yeah. So I think it's all good. So with that,
hey, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was my honor. I love the fact that we're able to do this, man.
Anytime you want to come on, man, you got an open door. Seriously. So I'd be willing to come on your format as well. I have no problem either. So.
Oh, that'd be great. So, actually, that's a good one.
So okay.
I'll make sure to let you know.
Oh yeah. Anytime. Absolutely. I look forward to it. So thank you again, everybody. And if this is your first time here, or if you enjoyed this content, what we do at the Conservative Take, and people like JD and LEXIT and everything we're doing here to try and get our country back to where it needs to be, please click like and subscribe and that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. So if you can just share with your friends what we're trying to do, that will mean so much to us. And so on behalf of JD and my followers and everyone else, thank you so much for coming out here. And I hope to see you guys next time.